Hi, good afternoon. This is Lunch with Laura. I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm so sorry that this video is being pre-recorded. I have a lunchtime meeting that I have to attend today, so I'm so sorry about that, but please still feel free to leave your comments in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your insights and your thoughts on today's topic, which is what happens when my husband or my ex has fathered a child outside of our relationship. Now, a lot of times that will be the reason why you guys break up. That will be a reason for a divorce. So if you're still going through a divorce, or if you're just beyond the divorce process, the first thing, number one, is please make sure that you process your feelings in a healthy way. If you have feelings of resentment or anger towards your ex because he fathered a child outside of your relationship, please do what you can, especially if you have kids with your ex. Do what you can to process those feelings, because a lot of times your ex is going to be juggling visitation between two households, your household and the other mom. And so your kids are going to come into contact with their sibling, and they're going to want to talk about their sibling. So a lot of times too, you may have resentment towards the child, even though I really highly recommend that, again, that you process those feelings. Your kids are going to pick up on that. And so, if you need help doing that, anybody who knows me knows that I'm a huge proponent of counseling. I've been to counseling several times. So if you need a little bit of help, absolutely do that. And if you can't afford, traditional counseling with a licensed counselor, look towards your church, for help. Look towards friends who may know someone who may be able to give you sound wisdom and guidance. And if you're in the church, someone who will give you godly wisdom and counsel. That's so important. So, just know, even though you divorced him, there's still going to be that lingering connection because of your kids, and your kids wanting to know what's going on in the life of their sibling. That's just natural, and they're just going to want to talk about it, especially if your ex is visiting with both sets of kids. And so just know that that's really important. Now, if you decide to stay in the marriage where your husband has fathered a child outside of your relationship, you're going to have to deal with the other mom and the visitation schedule with that. So a lot of times, some people are like, hey, how does that work out? Okay, so if the other mom asks the court to establish paternity officially, sometimes your husband will just go ahead and sign the birth certificate. But if you have a situation where the other mom asks to establish paternity, then a lot of times within that same court proceeding, they will also establish child support, and they will also establish a visitation schedule. Now let's just use Texas as an example. Texas, if you have a regular visitation, will be first, third, and fifth weekend of the month, and it'll also be a midweek visitation, which will usually be a Wednesday or Thursday night for dinner, usually about 2 hours. So if there aren't any, extenuating issues, they have a standard visitation schedule, and you'll also have the same, so you'll be dealing with that. So one of the things, if you're going to stay in the relationship, if your husband fathered a child outside, you want to make sure, if you're going to stay, the main question is he healed from the reasons, or has he gotten resolution from the reasons why he strayed in the first place? So again, if you need help working through those issues, counseling is a great option. The second thing is that other mom using visitation as a means to try to hold on to a romantic relationship with your husband or with your ex. So that may be also a dynamic that that may be a concern for you, and a question that you really should answer. Get to the bottom of that if you're going to stay in the marriage, stay in the relationship. So those are also other things to consider. Now, the third scenario is, what if you are really interested in a guy and he has this situation going on in his life? For example, I just wrote last week's blog about Adrienne Ballion, and she is engaged to be married to Israel Houghton. And his situation is just that. He just got divorced within the past year. He has a set of kids with his ex-wife. And then he also allegedly fathered 2 children with another woman while he was still married. And so he's going to be juggling visitation between two households and then getting married, and then also maybe possibly having dynamic with starting a family, with, his new wife, his soon-to-be wife. So, there is that kind of added layer of complication there. Not impossible, but, you really want to make sure with a person who has that type of history or type of dynamic going on in their lives, are they healed from the reasons why they went outside of the relationship? Are they emotionally healthy enough to be able to juggle the visitation schedule between the two households and still be able to solidify a new marriage or a new relationship? And so those are really the questions to consider if you are interested in a gentleman who has that situation going on in his life. So, lots of things to consider, a lot of information I've given you to digest. I've almost given you a kind of a data dump, right, of things to think about and consider. But the main takeaway that I want you to get from today's video is to make sure you get healing for you, especially if you're a mom, because your kids pick up on that even if you're not mentioning that to them. Every time that they're, going off with their dad, they're going to sense and pick up that you still have anger and resentment. And you don't want to have anger, resentment to the other innocent child too. It's just, if you come into contact, with that child as that child gets older, you just want to just be able to just look at that child and see that that child is, just precious in the sight of God, just precious and innocent, and you hope and wish and pray for the best for that child, that, they do well in school, all of those good things, all the things that you pray for your own kids. You want to get to a place, sooner rather than later, where you're praying that for that innocent child who, didn't ask for that, right? So I hope you find today's video interesting, food for thought for you. If you have family members that are in this situation, share this video with them. And so I thank you for spending a little bit of your lunch with me. This has been Lunch with Laura. I will see you again on Monday. Have a fabulous weekend and take care.